The engine is starting
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
Go pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Good evening, travelers and those alike. Welcome to the Orion Effect right here on the R.I.F.T Nation Network. I am Ed the Hitman Odell,
And I am Rhonda Harris.
and we'd like to thank you to our little home. You know, it's been an interesting 2 weeks, and this weekend something happened, but it was caught off guard. I wasn't expecting this to happen, but it did, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But we're back to talking with our friends.
Yes.
Back with our friends.
Yes.
Back to the whole paranormal supernatural thing. We will be returning back to clockwork, down the road as we get that prep. But right now we're back on track. Giving y'all exactly what you've asked for and trying to give you the realest show as we possibly can. With saying that, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm in vacation mode. In vacation mode, well, I mean, the first few days of my vacation mode is deep cleaning my house. The second half is I'm heading to the beach, but so
I like it.
so
I
but
like
yeah, I've got some things I want to take care of in the house come fall. So it was time for like a purge and deep clean so that we can get a couch and pull up I say me and some select people who are going to come help me that don't know they're coming to help me yet. So out there, if you live in Richmond and area, you want to come help me pull up carpet, come along.
Come
There'll be a
along.
party.
Come along.
But yeah, so yeah,
Very cool.
good stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, it has been some good stuff, and it's definitely been a change. The retrogrades are in effect on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
They're doing good. They're doing good. It is what it's meant to be. I will
Well, I mean,
say.
I think like we've said with retrogrades before, the only thing to know is that there's one going on.
Yeah,
Be
there's one
aware.
somewhere.
Be aware.
Somewhere.
Yeah, because it's very rare. Like it only happens once or twice a year for a very limited amount of time that nothing's in retrograde. So something's always in retrograde,
That's when we have to worry.
right? Everything's too calm.
I agree. You know what? I'm going to hand it on over to you for a second,
Sure.
and let's get it out there.
Yeah, I know. I can tell already. There's a bunch of people out there watching and not saying hello. So
Just because of who
please
we
say
have
hello.
on.
Heidi Gold, thank you for sharing us out. Renee Cody, Daryl Paulette, Emily Warner, Shayla Record, Kevin, our buddy Zson Dragon, Ronnie Record. Thank you for joining in. If you haven't said hello, say hello and welcome in. It's going to be a fun night. I have one question, though. Why was Courtney not invited to this party? Y'all were scared to have the two of us together, weren't you?
She's
That's what it
always
was.
welcome. She was always welcome. When I had said something, I was like, I don't know if Courtney's going to come or not. Sometimes she does and sometimes she doesn't. But she's always welcome. Family's family.
Wait a minute. I'm highly outnumbered here.
No.
No,
Actually,
not at
this is
all.
good.
Not at all. Y'all are harmless. Hello, James. Thanks for joining.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Very much so. So before we bring on the big men, Ronnie Anderson and the man of the hour, Big Daddy Sean Elliott, we wanted to talk about something, and it kind of hit close to home. So, hey, what's up, Vet? Oh, by the way, I did. Sorry, James, if I didn't say hi. Hello, sir. How are you? Good evening, and hello to everybody. I started my morning out with Sean Ryan.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know who Sean Ryan is, but he is a retired CIA agent who does YouTube and podcasting now.
Okay.
Now, the interesting part is I started this show out this morning with AJ from the Y-Files.
Okay.
And what an impactful show. It was almost 2 hours long, and man, they had a lot of great points, and they were talking, they were just being honest and serious. And that's one of the things that I was thinking about. I was like, everybody talks how they love the energy, how we are. Sometimes we're serious and sometimes we're not so serious. Most of the time we're goofy, crazy.
Right.
But the one thing that I'm going to say that they said too, and I have to agree with, we are 100% who we are right here.
Oh yeah.
Get in public. There's nothing fake.
The only thing that's a little different for me on here is my potty mouth is not so bad.
Well, okay. I
keep it a little reserved.
Well, I try. But I am who I am, and I'm not going to change for anybody.
Nor should any of us. Life is truly too short to be anyone but yourself.
Exactly. And that's what they were talking about today at the end. And I was like, you know what? Exactly right. Everybody talks about my kooky little voices and my extravagant personality at times and my outbursts, but I am who I am, and I'm proud of it.
It keeps us all on our toes.
Yes,
you never know when it's coming.
Right? Hi. So on that one, very true. Very true. And I want to say, hey, Angie, welcome to the show. Hello. We've got a really special show tonight.
Yeah, we do. It's going to be fun.
we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We are going to discuss some things that don't usually get discussed. Some of the stuff that myself and Sean have started to probe at because we noticed that not a lot of people talk about it. Then I know Ronnie's right there in the mix. Now, something else we found out this weekend, or rather this beginning of this week, and we'll talk about in just a second, between Ronnie and I just completely went, what the hell? You know, we had no idea. So this is going to be really cool. So while we're doing this whole thing, let's make the world aware and let's give some action to the passion, baby. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, from Bedford Paranormal, Ronnie Anderson's in the house.
Woo-hoo!
Hello, everybody.
And from Hill City Paranormal, Big Daddy Sean Elliott.
I got something I need to say. Courtney, come here.
Yeah, Courtney, get your
Ain't nobody scared of y'all two together. Ain't nobody
God,
scared
yes,
of y'all.
you are scared of me and
Courtney, get in
Courtney
here.
together.
Ain't nobody scared of y'all two together. Ain't nobody scared of y'all.
They are, Courtney. They are.
Ain't nobody scared of y'all.
Ronnie is. That's why he's sitting there quiet.
Ronnie, nobody's scared of y'all two. Nobody. This is have one of the men in here tonight with you.
I'm scared of Courtney.
But you're here. You can't run from me now, Rhonda. You cannot run from me. Rhonda has a tendency to run from me every time I come. I have to chase her with my arms out. Like, Rhonda, give me a hug. Give me a hug. I gotta run, chase her like this every time I see her. Like, come here, Rhonda.
You're full of shit. You're full of shit.
I gotta chase Ronnie too. I'm like, hey, Ronnie.
Hey, you just said it straight like you're full of shit.
The only person I'm scared of is Courtney.
That's what I asked. And my only assumption was, Courtney, it was that they were scared of us together.
I think so. I really think that's what's going on, because when two like-minded females get into a room, you want to know what happens?
Nothing.
Mass intelligence.
Mock.
And
What's up,
beauty.
Dragon?
And when you combine beauty and mass intelligence,
Rhonda runs.
No, that's not
it's a
true.
recipe for disaster.
I'm looking behind my shoulder just in case.
Where's Sarah? Sarah! Yeah, she's coming too.
I don't smell nothing in the kitchen.
Not
You can hear her sizzling, can't you?
Oh, she can still hear. Yeah.
I'm gonna get beat up after the show. Goes out. See, so y'all saw that. I was on camera. Somebody call 911.
I really do. The kitchen really is calling me though. I did want to pop in here and say hello.
Please, love you.
Yes, it was a long day. We've been driving. I feel like we've been investigating since Friday, literally.
Hey, Courtney, what time is dinner?
Sorry.
Hey, Ronnie.
What time is dinner?
In about 20 minutes. Can you make it?
Ain't no need to tell them coming over here. How long have I invited? How long have I been inviting Ronnie over now?
Ronnie, you let me know when you are coming over.
He ain't coming.
And I will fire up the Blackstone.
Ronnie lives a few minutes away from me. He still ain't came over here.
Rhonda can come too. Nothing else.
He ain't coming over here.
Who? I'll come over there.
I've been inviting you over here.
No, you gotta have a cookout for Ronnie to go.
Oh, that's right. We got the grill. We can start it up. It's gas. It'll start straight up. You can come on. I don't even got to prepare.
I got a Blackstone. I can invite everybody. Everybody in the chat can come on.
Howard, you ain't but an hour.
Angie.
Rhonda.
Yeah, finally I get brought into this.
I got some good Kool-Aid, tea.
Angie.
We got some beverages.
Angie, I know you can hear me in the chat. Bring the beans and the mac and cheese. We got this.
Oh, look out.
What do you mean I'm talking over you? It says Sean Elliott Jr.
Look,
right
you
here.
called me in here. I gotta go cook. Bye, love y'all.
Well, as y'all can see, we have a nice little family gathering.
As much as Sean gives me hell sometimes, I had to pick a little bit and say you were scared of me and Courtney.
Oh, we love Rhonda. We love Rhonda. Even though she runs from me all the
I
time.
do not run. I
Rhonda's
knew I was
fast,
going to catch crap for not going out of town next weekend with y'all. I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
All week, you gonna get it.
I know.
You comment on your page every day.
The beach is calling. I must go. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's get down to business.
All right.
shall
Let's
we?
go.
I'm stuck in getting ready to go with the Max headroom. So let's go with this. Rockin' on.
Oh, Angie.
Oh, yeah. Hello, everybody that joins us. John Sullivan, hello, and welcome to the show. Heidi, we thank you so much once again. Kev, hello, how are you? Angie's in the house. Good girl. Making an acknowledgement. Usually we bring a chat up, but all four of us, the chat make it really hard. So we get hit with any questions tonight, we'll just bring it right up so y'all can see it. Angie says, got the beans and mac and cheese. All right, rock on.
I know what she's talking about.
We got to have a paranormal picnic. Ooh. Did everybody just freeze?
No.
You know what you need to do?
Wait, Emily's in here.
No, you know what you need to do, Howie? You need to go ahead and ask the doctor, why are men scared when two women are in the room together?
That food is burning.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
Howie, can I have one moment on your show? Just one moment. I just saw a comment that triggered me.
No!
I'm taking the guitar, run.
I just got triggered. Hold on. Emily, I left it right here just for you. Emily, stop lying. Emily, stop lying. Emily, stop lying. Emily, quit crying. All right, that's all I needed. That's it. Show is back to you. That's all I needed.
Look, we haven't even been on 15 minutes and it's mass chaos.
Yeah, well, you know.
I'm calm now. I had to get it out. I saw a comment and it triggered me, and that's for Emily. Shout out Lost Souls, by the way.
Damn triggering. Oh, look. Oh, good. I get to play. Hold on. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I see. Oh, hey. How is everybody doing tonight? Because you got to go bye-bye.
I'm just letting you know that according to AI, men cannot handle two women in the room together because they are perceived as a threat to their dominance. Hear me?
Hey, Ronnie. Oh, yeah, that's right. We are starting a paranormal band, right?
You just flushed on y'all.
We can do it, Ronnie. We were supposed to be starting a paranormal band here, right?
That's right.
We are ruining the show.
No,
not at all.
We are back on track and back in action. That's how it is. What?
All right.
All right. So I was putting the show together, right?
I love Emily, by the way. It's all love.
We all love Emily.
North Kakalaki. Yeah. With some grape juice. All right. So I was putting this together and I was looking through pictures. I was trying to figure out the one. And then I saw the same day something that took place in 2013. And I was looking at the flyer. I was like, son of a bitch, that's Ronnie. I had actually met Ronnie, oh God, what, 12 years ago now? 13?
Oh, yeah.
Way back when. Didn't put two and two together. Even like 3 years ago, when we did St. Albans together, didn't put it together. He's the one that brought it to my attention. I'm like, son of a bitch, no, I know where the hell I know you from. So it was an interesting week for me on that case. Yes. It's like, yeah, I remember him now. Good Lord.
I know the Exchange Hotel in 2013, something like that.
Yep, 2013. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a hell of a day. That was fun. In fact, I think that's the same weekend that Tommy fell out on us. We had to send him over to Mary Washington because he stroked out on us.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. That was a crazy weekend. Crazy. That goes, what we bring in, whatever you want to bring whatever, bring it on.
Bring whatever you
That's all
like.
that's required to a cookout is yourself.
Exactly. So, all right, let's get serious. Let's get serious for just a second here. Just try to draw it back in because there is something that Sean and I was speaking about at the beginning of the week, and I'm like, this would be a perfect conversation to have with Rhonda. And I'm like, it would be a perfect conversation to have with Rhonda. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to flow. So, this is what we were talking about. Phantom phone calls.
Because I've had one of those.
Okay, so you're all familiar with this, correct? Okay, so phantom phone calls can come out of nowhere. They happen all the time. Majority of the time, we hear it supposedly coming from our loved ones who passed on. And I'm like, well, this would be really interesting because I had it happen too when my father passed away the day after. And, we were at my mom's, and their phone number popped up on the display. I opened it and picked up the phone, and it was interesting. And then what really caught my attention about this whole thing is why I'm bringing it forth, because Stranger Things season 5 is about to come.
Yay.
And they were talking about how he got lost on the Upside Down, but was able to communicate through the telephone and through lights.
Bless you.
Sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I wanted to bring that to the table and hear what you guys had to say. Ronnie, how do you feel about phantom calls? Let's even talk about the Upside Down. It's all paranormal and spiritual, and I'm going to hear it from Rhonda's side too.
Well, the only time I've ever got a phantom phone call is it was probably about 6 months ago, and my phone rang, and I looked at it, and it had a friend's name on it, Joey Ferguson. And Joey had a bad car accident and passed away a year prior to it. And when I answered it, there was nothing. It hung up right away.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if that's paranormal or somebody hacked his number, but I thought it was kind of strange.
Hey, wasn't he friends with Mike St. Clair?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. It's interesting to me. Sean, what's your take on these phantom calls? Give us a little bit of insight of what you feel and think, and let's really dive into this a little bit, because I am now, after Friday, I'm really pumped about a lot of things. I got my juice back, and I got documented, so I'm like, now I really want to know people's thoughts.
Sure.
The psychological part.
So, as I become more seasoned in this field, and what I mean by seasoned is more open, more investigating a whole lot more now than what I have in the past. I mean, this month alone, I've investigated just about every weekend so far, and I would say for the past 5 or 6 weekends in a row, I've been investigating and nonstop. And I experienced my first one 2 weeks ago. We were at the Rainworth Inn, 4:30 in the morning. We're going to sleep. My phone rings. It was Chris Mendez from Supernatural Untold Stories. He calls me. We're talking on the phone for about a minute. And it wasn't really an intelligent conversation. It started with, "Hey, man." I said, "Hey." And I heard a bunch of mumbling. It was his voice, clear as day. Courtney's about to kill me because, she's like, why is he waking us up 4 in the morning? And then I get tired of listening to the mumbling. I'm a little worried because I thought it may have been a health issue, but I was out of it, so I hung up the phone. I wake up to 4 more missed calls, and I'm like, what's going on? And I forgot to mention it because I'm trying to get myself together. I get home, call him, say, "Hey, what you need in the morning?" He said, "I never called you." Well, he was filming a documentary of Rainworth, so he ran his footage back. He was filming himself asleep and realized he never touched his phone. Phone never lit up or anything. And so that had me stumped. Well, you and I, how we talk. Hey, Kim, shout out to FPRI. We never, I'm a scientific guy, and you and I talk science all the time. And I started researching the phone call, and my theory and thoughts in it is science. You have to go back to science with these phantom phone calls, and it goes back to energy. We always talk about energy in the paranormal world, but we never break down how many different types of energy that's out there. And with my thoughts on it is kinetic energy, the thought of motion and how things can move. So what if it's the energy is the ability to move? So what if something is going through the waves to make that phone call happen? Or what if the phone call never happened? What if it's dimensional, so to speak? We talk about how people lose their keys, for example, and they go looking everywhere for it. And then you realize you stepped into another dimension. The keys were there the whole time. So those are different theories that I've been looking into: energy and dimensional. With these phone calls, it could be a number of things that's happening because it's impossible for a phone to ring. You're talking to somebody, and that actually never happened. And so that's what's been blowing my mind with it. It's either an energy thing, where if the spirit was able to manipulate energy somehow, or we stepped into another dimension somehow. Because there's also extraterrestrial reports of rainward flies that I wasn't aware of.
Oh.
I'm just recently finding out about this. So what this does to me is, as an investigator or researcher, or whatever you want to call us, to be a true investigator, are you out here chasing REM pods going off, or are you chasing actual knowledge of the field?
Oh, hold on. Before you go any further, Ronnie, how do you feel about that statement he just made?
I'm in agreement, but I'm actually learning about. I'm actually listening to what he's saying, because me and him hadn't discussed this yet. I mean, I think I've heard about the phone call,
Okay,
but I think Sean's on to something, and I'm ready to hear what else he's got to say.
There you go. All
but
right.
I do have a question. Were the phone calls on your phone, Sean?
Yeah, so I was going to get there. When I first called Chris, he didn't believe that this actually happened. He was completely unaware until I screenshotted my call log, and then he went and screenshotted me back his call log. I was like, "What the hell? This never happened." He was completely unaware, and you know how you can talk to somebody and kind of tell, like, "What are you talking about?" And it wasn't until
Rhonda does it to me all the time.
and so it threw him down a rabbit hole. He was like, "Wait a minute, I'm going to." While on the phone, he went and got out his laptop, hooked his camera to it, and was watching this on the phone and fast forward like through his time where he was sleeping, while his significant other was sitting beside him. And I met her, and she's like a very no nonsense kind of person. Like, just by talking to her, I've had conversations with her. I've seen them two interact. She's called him out on stuff before the head. I'm just like, whoa, you actually said that to him, kind of person. She's not going to see something in that video and be like, "Oh, Chris, you dialed the number right there," or "You woke up and hit your phone right here." She's sitting there just as stumped as I am, like, what just happened here? Like, how did that call log get like that if you never touched the phone? You didn't even roll over on it or anything. If the phone's sitting on the nightstand.
Mm-hmm.
So how did this happen?
Yeah.
So again, that's going to push me back to how energy works. Like, again, if you research energy, there's a whole list. There's light energy, kinetic energy, thermal energy. There's so many different forms. But if you research kinetic energy, that's mainly, if you look at, there's a whole lot of stuff on kinetic energy. It makes sense of how that happened, or it's dimensional. Did we slip into another dimension where Chris made that phone call? We can't see it because it's not on the you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It never happened according to the camera because it can't be recorded. We're not there.
Right.
What I find the most interesting is that you couldn't understand what he was saying.
It was like a mumble. I heard the first part I got witness because she was sitting right beside me.
Right.
So I heard the "Hey man" clear as day. He was wide awake on the "Hey man." The rest of it was just jumbled. But that leads to another story, which we're going to get down the road.
There you go.
Was it his voice?
He has a very distinct voice. If you ever talk to Chris Mendez, his voice is different than anybody that I know.
Right.
It was his voice.
Well, let me get here. Keith Ottersberg says entities can control electronics and mimic others. I agree. Does he have gifts and control his phone through those in dreams? That's an interesting point of view coming from Keith. That's really good. Has Chris said he has any type of abilities or acknowledged anything like that, Sean? To you, at least?
He's not acknowledged that to me, and I would have thought, honestly, it was a dream had I not been looking at my phone and the call logs there. If the call logs weren't there, I would have thought we were just dreaming and chopped it up as I was half asleep.
Okay.
But we both had matching call logs on his phone. I have a picture of his. He has a picture of mine. and we have video proof to prove. Now, we didn't have a camera on me because I'm not putting a camera on myself in the bedroom. Honestly.
Now.
I just had a thought of like, was he astro projecting and Dever left his own room?
Okay.
But then, I mean, you probably wouldn't have seen him on camera, but you would think you would see something with the phone.
Right.
So, Sean, here's another question that comes from Keith. He says, was there a timeline change for him and not you, rather? Let's get that straight. So that's a good point, Keith.
Yeah.
Did y'all feel any timeline lapsing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That happened a couple times that night, actually. So that I was going to say that going back to energy. So I've gone to Rainworth. I probably have investigated Rainworth over the last couple of years a lot. I don't know how many times. I don't even want to put a number on it. You and I talk a lot, Howie. You know how many times I've been there.
Yeah.
This time in particular, the energy is completely different in there. Walking into the Rainworth feels different. It wasn't until Sunday I came back. We always brief the owners of the Rainworth. Shout out Daniel Bonner and his wife. They've said the energy's different in there now. It's not the same feeling anymore. And the incident that happened in the blacksmith shop, to me, verifies the timeline change, because it was a complete break in time where something happened that didn't happen. Something happened that didn't happen in there until we verified it on the video footage. So I think a lot of what we need to do as investigators is study science. We need to study energy. We need to learn Newton's laws of energy and also the other science's laws of energy, and start digging deeper into science to understand what we're dealing with out here. And I think that a lot of us need to be careful, a lot more careful with what we're dealing with. Now, also astrology. This weekend, the veil was at its thinnest with the black moon and stuff going on. And this weekend, we did an investigation that itself, and I'm going to get back to the phone thing, but we did an investigation where this past weekend, I did 2 investigations at 2 separate locations, and have had the most activity that I've had probably in a year.
Okay. Now there's 4 of us here. All 4 of us have 4 prom spots. So this is a perfect opportunity to actually poke and prod at this. So Rhonda, of course. Rhonda, you got Belgrove Plantation. Ronnie, what I'd say focus would be St. Albans for you.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with Selma Mansion in Norristown, Pennsylvania. So let's compare notes with this, and let me shoot over to Ronnie. Then I'll come up to Rhonda. What Sean's been talking about, and then with this, Ronnie, when you deal with St. Albans, have you experienced some of the stuff that Sean's talking about, or has it been different for you there?
No.
Shout out to Bedford, of course.
No, I was going to ask Sean, through his research at Rainworth, has anything changed just like over the year or so that you've been doing it?
Tremendously.
And what do you think it is? And, with your evidence, do you have a clue? Because the reason I asked, because St. Albans, I've been going to St. Albans since, 2009, 2010. And all the activity had been the same up until COVID. And the building had sat dormant for a while during COVID. And then we go back in there, and the energy in there is just totally different. Totally different. Like I keep telling Sean, I said, stay off the beaten path at St. Albans, because everybody goes to the boiler room, the bowling alley, the suicide bathroom, and we get more evidence now in different areas of that building. And something's changed. And right now we're spending a lot of time in certain parts of that building that nobody ever goes to.
Right.
And right now we do not know what changed it or why. But yes, I'm experiencing the same things that he is, with the Rainworth. And it's strange. I can't put my finger on it. We can't put our finger on why, but we just know it has changed.
Right.
Well, to answer that question, all I have are theories. I don't have the answer. 20 years investigating actively, I still don't know anything. But my theories are with pay to play locations, I am new to because for so many years I didn't know they existed. But what my theories are, number one, there's a lot more stuff going on in the sky lately, above the planet. And I noticed I've been paying more attention to it lately that with the more activity we have going on up there, the more evidence and data that I'm able to collect. I've been paying attention every time there's a new moon or something new going on in the sky. Every 3 years, there's a this moon thing cycle going on. All this crazy evidence I'm getting. So I have noticed that. But also at the pay to play locations, you got to think how many teams are coming into these places.
Right.
We have no clue what these teams are doing. I noticed there's a uptick of these TikTokers coming through. They're trying this stuff and they're doing things for views. They're provoking a lot more. When with the TV shows, that's what's getting views. They're going in there yelling, cursing at the spirits, and they're doing it at these very locations that we're talking about. If you go get on YouTube and look at what they're doing in St. Albans, they're cursing it. They're disrespecting the spirits that are in there. Somebody walk in your house and say "F you, you SOB," and this, that, and the third, it's gonna piss you off. So that when you come in there, the spirit, we don't know if spirits recognize our face or our voice. We don't know what they're remembering when they see us. All they know is that somebody's coming in their home. And so we don't know what's making them to react the way they do. I remember you telling us that, or telling me several times, you used to feel comfortable walking down King's Hall. Now you feel you're scared to death to walk down it. Well, we don't know who's doing what when they're going in that King's Hall. And so I'm watching these TikTokers, I'm watching these YouTubers go in there with Ouija boards and this, that, and the third. We don't know how they're using them. We don't know anything. But if you go look at social media, they're watching Zach Baggins, they're watching all these people who go in here and provoke and do Matt Rife and do all this crazy stuff. And then they're going into these very locations that we investigate in, and they're trying this stuff. And if it doesn't work, they're packing their bags. I just talked to the Doss house, and she said some of these demon people are coming in there provoking demons and trying to place demons in locations, and then they're there 2 hours and they leave.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So and not to go against anybody's religion, but it's true. We've seen a rise in demonic religion. So if you want to say, however you want to take a Luciferian, whatever, we have seen a rise in that. We've seen a lot of rise in subcultures coming into paranormal culture because they can feed off the people and the places they feel. So I'm like, okay, these are very valid points. Valid points. Now, Rhonda, before I jump in with you, I want to bring this up. Keith Ottersberg is the director for Cobra Paranormal. He's also the host of the Otter's Den and works closely with Joni Templeton Skinner, who is a professional astrology. Now, he does state this, and I wanted to bring this to a point. The astrology can make a difference on evidence and interaction. And the reason I bring that up too is because, like you were talking about, both of you, the lunar eclipse, these lunar energy, they can play into what we're dealing with. Meteor showers, solar flares. We see how the solar flares last year tortured us. We don't even acknowledge it, but they made the paranormal world jump like they were doing a jump rope. And that's just my observation and documentation and whenever there was a solar flare, we had an extreme point of activity in the paranormal field. So I find that too. So I just want to bring that out. Rhonda, I want to give it back to you now and give you to Belgrove, and let's see what you were talking about with the other two.
Okay. Well, with Belgrove, there's not a lot of teams other than us that are in there. Now, there have been in this last year, Michelle has set up some events where there have been other investigators in there. But what I will say is we've been noticing some things that are a little unusual too. As far as Belgrove goes, I mean, the caretaker's house is always a hot spot. It's always been a hot spot. It's one of the places within the location that it's kind of known for, and it got quiet for a while. It's been quiet for a while. to the point, John and I were talking about, Cinder and I were talking, it's like something's off. Like, why is this suddenly so quiet? I will say it picked back up last lockdown. But it was so unusual that it was kind of like, this is strange. This is not making a whole lot of sense. I will say this, Sean, I think to your point about do the spirits recognize us? And because we're there so much, I can honestly say yes. And the reason we've always gotten lots of EVPs with all of our names popping up here and there. But John and I were there, and we helped out with when Steve Gonzalez was there with his event. And actually, we weren't, at least the group I was in, they asked me to go with them as a subject matter expert. And I was sitting back, letting them do everything. I was just kind of sitting there, and we were in the basement, and nothing was happening. It was quiet. And Steve all of a sudden looked at me, and he said, "You're here all the time, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Start asking the questions. You start asking questions." And the minute I did, the activity ramped back up. Like everything started going off. And he said, "Well, there it goes. There you go. They do recognize certain people, and that's their comfort zone."
And Rhonda, if I can, I'm going to jump on with this because she's right behind me. So my better half, okay, if you will, she's mixed. Okay, so she's white and black. She was at Belgrove. We were there on a public investigation. I think that's when. No, that wasn't when she was there.
It was New Year's, wasn't it?
I think it was New Year's. Yes. Yeah. And we went into the slave quarters. Is that correct? Where they
summer kitchen.
Summer kitchen.
Yeah.
And Sarah couldn't stand being in it. She had such response. Now, it's interesting to me because bring up now we're talking about color and race, and that bring your lineage in there. How did they know who she was? How did they know to affect her? She is a sensitive. I understand that. But it's interesting that they could almost, I don't know, maybe by facial, but I think, when we do these places, we are affected by men, women, by color. We are affected by it. Now, there is something I do want to say that Sean brought up too, you guys. When Sean, you said something about them remembering or communicating. I think when we spend more than just a little bit of time at a location, it's not really a look as more of it's an energy frequency, or you want to call it aurora, whatever you want to call it, that they pick up. What is your intent? We've already talked about this. Intent. They already know your intent before you get there. All right. So when you get there, yeah.
Agreed.
So they know if you're there over a period of time, they get to know that energy. So that's how I can say they can recognize that. That's where I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. And if we're like, just from the phantom phone thing, I want to go back to that. I've had 3 experiences. 2 were with electronic phones. 1 was with a landline. So I'm going to go from least impressive to most impressive. The least, and they're all pretty impressive to me. I was at Belgrove. Spending the night actually, and we were in the Conway bedroom, and I was sleeping on an air mattress, double air mattress. So I actually had 2 pillows. I'm under the covers. We'd all been chitter chattering, right? We go to bed, and we're all, as we all do, play with our phone before we're going to sleep. I take my phone, turn it off. It's on silent because I don't want it to make noise or ding, wake anybody up. I put it on the pillow beside me. We all, half an hour passes, so we're all dozing off. And all of a sudden, I didn't quite understand what you were saying. All of us jumped off, heart palpitating. I look, and it's my phone.
Oh.
It's been activated.
You and your phone, man.
Okay. Then the second incident happened at the cabin. Howie was with me. We were in the loft.
So Ryan. Ryan's in chat, so Ryan was here too.
Was Ryan with us? I don't even remember who was with us.
Yeah.
So we're upstairs doing an investigation in the cabin, and all of a sudden, Howie's like, "Your butt's lit up," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Your butt's lit up," and I had my phone in my side pocket of my leggings.
Her butt was glowing.
That's impossible. He's like, "It's not," and I pull it out. My flashlight is on.
But why?
I showed them. There's no way to activate the flashlight on that phone without unlocking it.
Yep.
And it was locked.
But what would we ask about 15 minutes prior to that? Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
We said, if you could communicate to us, can you turn one of the flashlights on, or can you communicate?
Turn the one on in my pocket.
And then right to her ass.
The third one was, I used to travel a lot for work. Pretty much every other week I was flying to the West Coast to work. And every Sunday, my father would call just to figure out where I was going, when I'd be back, the whole itinerary. And sometimes when he would call on a Saturday, I'm busy doing other things, and I would let the phone ring. And if I didn't answer within like 10 minutes, he's calling back. It was a whole thing. And it used to drive me crazy. Like, I will call you back. Like, I've got, but he would and he had never called my cell phone. He always called the landline. We had one phone hooked up to the landline. And when he passed away, this was in 2015. So somewhere between 2015 and he passed away in like May of 2015. We had one landline still hooked up in the kitchen. And I said, you know what? I hate how much I used to brush him off when he would call on Sundays. Because all he wanted to know was where's my daughter going and when's she going to be back? That's what I want to know. And so I said, I miss those phone calls, and I would do anything to change not answering them. I said it multiple times. All of a sudden one night on a Sunday, that phone starts ringing. I pick it up. There's static. There's nobody there. I hang it up. This goes on for 2 hours, every 10 minutes. Finally, I got annoyed, unplugged the phone, and it rang again.
Oh, wow.
Bam! Now that's gotcha.
Now, did you answer it? Did you ever answer it?
I answered that time, and there was still nothing there. There was no static this time, but there was nothing there. I mean, I was like, literally, I'm looking at this phone, kind of scared to answer it. Like, what? And of course, it was after a while that I was realized, oh, I've been sitting there how much I missed those Sunday phone calls.
And that is exactly the other point I was thinking about Stranger Things was that story is gone. That's exactly why I brought this up.
It never happened again. Anything like that, but that one, and it was just funny. It was on a Sunday, and it was repetitive over and over again. I don't know. Residual energy, I don't know, but I know it was a message for sure.
Okay, so I'm glad you used that word. Now let me ask you guys, in your opinion, do you think residual energy can interact with us as far as an energy based, or is it just a projection? What is your all's thoughts about that? I'm starting to build my own residual thought about this, but
I'll let Ronnie go first.
It's a hard question to answer if you're talking about residual energy.
Yeah.
Because I think residual would happen more than once. Maybe it's the time of year, maybe, or the day or the month or whatever. But if it was residual, I would think it would happen again.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost, it's hard to answer that question because I could almost put it into an intelligent side of things more than a residual.
Yeah.
Why it never happened again? You don't know if it is going to happen again.
I did wonder though. It happened that one time. I wondered if residual energy can just stop at some point because it really freaked me out. But maybe at that point it was like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. I don't understand because it's energy, and so you don't understand really what's happening. I felt like it was intelligent. I felt like it was definitely a message, but then at the same time, it's like we don't know what. Does anything ever eventually break a residual energy?
Yes.
I believe it does, but like I said, to say that was residual, it would have had to happen, even if it was a year later to that day and time.
Yeah.
It should have happened again. But like you said, we don't know what breaks it. But to me, if it happened one time, it was more, I would classify it more as intelligent. That's just my opinion.
I'll go with you. Ryan, Sean, 2 names, D, Ron, Sean. I got you. Hold on. I just want to say this to answer your question, Rhonda. Yes, because if you find the source of the imprinted energy, such as the wood, the foundation, the quartz, wherever it's imprinted and it's coming from, if you destroy, move, or eradicate, it's no longer to exist.
But is that
But
true?
do
Is
you
that,
still,
and the reason I question is that true because so many houses where there's supposedly residual energy. There's a story of like a lady coming down a stairway or walking through a door,
Mhm.
and they keep walking through a wall, and there's no door there anymore.
I agree. That's why I was saying that
You
by
didn't really
technical
destroy
terms,
it.
you didn't really destroy it. You changed it.
Okay.
But
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 do you still have the landline?
No,
Okay, there you go.
took it out.
yeah, Sean, I know you're ready because I was like, "Yep, he's got it. Bring it on, bitch."
Before I answer, can you repeat the question?
Okay, here
I
it
just
is.
don't want to give you a dumb answer. I want to make sure I'm answering it the right way.
Does residual energy, because that's what confuses us, does residual energy retain energy? Is it a form of energy?
Of course, I think it is a form of energy,
Okay.
and I think your original question was, can it ever be intelligent? Right? That was the original question, right?
No, no. Is residual energy a form of energy that can interact with materialistic
There you go.
items? Okay. Yet it can
Can
it
it interact?
do
That was it.
right,
Can it interact? Yeah,
interact?
I believe it can.
Okay.
So here's the reason why I say I think it can. Just because it's residual doesn't mean that it can't. That's all it is residual. So
Mhm.
just because it's doing the same thing over doesn't mean that it's not aware, so to speak, for lack of better words. So if let's say, because we don't know how, what's what I'm looking for. I think that a lot of times in this field we get confused with intelligent and residual. I think that we think everything just has to be one way or the other, and the fact is we really don't know if it's one way or the other. So I think that, for example, maybe the phone call you were getting, that was the residual. Maybe he was saying hello, you couldn't hear it. Maybe if you had a recorder out, you might have heard hello. You know, he might have been saying hello the whole time. It's kind of like, remember how I told you we were joking about me walking through the cemetery with a K2 and the ghost is really touching it? Well, we don't know that it's touching it because it's not spiking, or we could be out recording EVPs and something's talking to it, but just because we're not getting it at that time doesn't mean it's not really talking to it. So we really don't know. I think that residual energy could be there all around us at all times. We're not always catching it. So I do think residual energy can interact.
I
I
like
really
that.
think it can.
I see all your points. Totally.
And I think it's hard to tell because you never get, well, I mean, I guess we do, but we probably don't pay attention to it. Not many people get the chance to be in a location and document time, seconds, days that certain things happen to be able to track back. Was this something that happens every single Tuesday at 4:03 p.m., you know, in April? You know what
That
I
goes
mean?
back to what
Because
all
maybe,
of us
I mean,
talked.
that residual might be when the third of a month hits on a Thursday in a certain year. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're not there enough to know.
Well, that's the thing. For those people who may organize or work at a public location or a public site that can do these things, why are they not documenting the per team, per action? I've been saying this for so many years. I Okay, hold on. Let me say this. Would residual energy be like a repeat time loop playing over and over? Yes, could be, but we
At a
don't.
certain time,
Yeah,
usually.
I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to use her name, but Ronnie and I both have experiences at the Exchange Hotel, and similar things did take place. And looking at that situation, that is one place that has all three: running water, has courts, has a train track. So all of it's there. And with Keith saying the remodeling, closing up doors and building walls in there, yeah, and I agree with Keith. Could be a remodeling, but it is interesting. But I told this person, you really should start documenting all your teams. They should sit down and write down their experiences that night each time. Now, nobody, I suggested this to Bill Freeman. Nothing against Bill. He started to listen to what I was saying. This was at Selma Mansion. I've said this to other places. What the problem is they don't want to get into that repetitive, I have to do something. Well, it's not you, it's the team. That team should be responsible putting that information into that log, because you can go back a year later and go through that a whole year and see what the similarities are in that documented log. But they're not doing it. They're not, and that's where some of the problem is coming in this field now, is a lack of documentation.
It goes back to, are we researching, or are we just looking for bells and whistles? Are we really trying to find data, or are we, it goes back to, and even I'm guilty of it myself. I will be the first one to say I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm pointing them right here at me. That's why I've started taking extra steps and doing different things, even down to my equipment is different now. If you look at my equipment that I carried a year ago, it's completely different now. From now. And why? Because I'm trying to grow in the field, and I'm trying to grow to this more of the scientific investigator side of me. I'm trying to research different things. Even my methods, techniques, they all are starting to change, because I'm really trying to find information on what's going on.
That's a good point. And I want to bring this up. This will be our last one. But let me ask this. We would like, if you guys would like, we'd like to invite you to come back next Sunday and continue this.
Yeah.
Would you guys be interested?
Make it happen, yes.
Sean's maybe, I don't know.
No, it's not that I don't want to. It's that we literally have been gone every weekend, and I just want to make sure I'm going to be able to.
That's fine. Well, we can snag up Ronnie.
I think I'm good to go. I believe so.
I told you, just anytime, let me know. I'll make time.
I love it. I love this energy and everything that we're getting to, and all the points. That's what I'm saying.
Tell Rhonda not to run from
me. Oh my God.
I won't be running. I'll be back. We'll both be back from our trips on Sunday.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, last week was bad for me. I had a show Saturday. I went to sleep for a few hours, and I drove to Pennsylvania to Pennhurst, stayed up all night, and drove back the next day. So I know how Sean feels right about that.
Oh, I know.
I hated those weekends. I'm not going to lie. I hated those weekends.
That's how I was when Howie last weekend. He was like, do you want Sunday off? I'm like, I got a lockdown till 5:30 in the morning. Heck yeah, I want the day off.
I love I used to love going out to these areas and location and researching. I did. But that's the one part I hated, was the travel, the economic status. And you get there, you're there for your only period of time, and you roll back out. It's exhausting. I'm like, dude, I'm 53. I don't want that shit anymore. I don't want that. I'll go down to the creek and do my investigation, and let's roll it and keep going. I'm just fucking around. But the point is that, it's exhausting for people who don't understand what we go through as researchers, what we actually go through and put ourselves through on a weekend basis, on a weekly basis.
Paranormal hangovers are real.
They are real. It's scientifically proven. I won't get into that tonight, but yes, I can give that proof there. So here's the question, and then we'll wrap this up in a nice little bow and send it on its way. So pick a time period from your past to now, and tell me how you feel like you have changed from that point to now. And I'll start with Rhonda. How do you feel?
You are.
Of course I am.
A second to think about it. I mean, I can honestly say in the last 2 years, I don't know. I feel like for me, what's changed is I've added the spiritual side in it too, because I've always been kind of scientific and like prove it and things like that. I think that's where I'm a little different than some people who are sensitive that come into the field, is because I do have abilities, but I really, if my ability can't be backed up by some piece of equipment or something else that's happening, I'm writing it off.
Okay. Okay. All right, Big Daddy, what about you?
I just feel like I'm growing more as far as knowledge. I feel like it's my style. Um, Learning, changing how I do things, what equipment I'm using, not relying on equipment as much anymore, relying more on myself.
Okay.
Just a small example. I used to set up cameras in every room and then sit here and have to take weeks and months to review it all. Now I'm more focused on what I see and having a second pair of eyes, which is one camera. And whatever I don't catch on that one camera is not meant for me to see it. That's just my philosophy. If I don't see it, then I don't care what the other cameras would catch anymore. If
Yeah,
I
we'll have
don't,
to talk about IR cams and lights next Sunday because
I love to because my whole theory on that last night. I have to tell you after the show. My whole theory on that, which we talked about, came to light last night.
there you go.
Isn't it funny how all your theories have changed too? A lot of my theories have changed.
Yes, they have all changed.
What about you, Ronnie?
Well, I know Sean's heard this before, but years ago I've had stuff happen to me, and then I really wasn't into the paranormal really, but I've had experiences through my life. But as you know, I'm gonna say from 2010 to now, I'm like Sean. We got a truckload of gear, and we used to set it up everywhere we go, and
Yeah.
spend all the time going through it. And now, my best piece of equipment I have is me. I, I I mean, I know a lot of people now are out there, collecting all this evidence and showing it and everything. I don't think our team has ever had the desire to put everything out there. I've got uh, external hard drives full of stuff from the past 15 years that, is just sitting there for our own, you know, entertainment that we thought about showing and putting out there, but we don't want to deal with the public with it. But as far as me, thinking I needed all this gear at one point, and now just not having, using all this gear, I've changed. Is what it is. I'm not into it for the thrill seeking or anything. I'm in it for maybe more the science of it and trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if that made sense, but
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
I think we
100%.
all started out as ghost hunters. We all started out as a ghost junkie. And I think we have progressed. That's how it happens. There's people that fall away and go, okay, I'm bored now. And there's other people going, I want to know. And that's why I'm here, because I want to know. I studied my ass off for 2 years to get what I got on Friday. And there's a reason why.
Yeah.
You know? So now I'm going, I need to apply what I'm certified to do. So I'm like, do I do it as a hobby, just as a special interest? Yes and no, because I don't want to drive her crazy. And I don't talk a lot about the paranormal home-wise, but we do have our chats, of course, because we're both on the team and we're, in the paranormal. But I don't bring it up as much as, like every conversation is not a paranormal. However, the growth, I would agree with you. From when I started, God, back in the early 90s to now, it's even my maturity is on a much higher level.
that's what I was going to say. We've kind of matured in the field.
Well, I mean, I think, Sean, you and I, the experience we had together, I think it shows too when you do lean some to the scientific part, when you can pick apart something that's happening, work it, and then start getting the results, it lights you up as almost as much as a jump scare, right? Because you're like, okay, I had this problem. I wasn't sure what's going on. And then you got to a point, and then it started like you're really starting to get what you feel like is evidence. You're like, that's just like a Christmas present.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in this field.
Sean is one to dissect the whole experience, and I appreciate that out of him.
Me too. I'm so sure sometimes John gets tired of me going, hey, but let's try this too. Yeah. Even when we're getting something like, okay, well, let's now do this, this, and this. But he's always, You got to have a good team that says, okay, let's try that.
Yeah.
Well,
I've investigated with all of you before, and I can say I've had great experiences and great learning experiences with all of y'all.
same with you, brother.
Same.
Absolutely. Travelers and those alike, thank you for staying with us tonight. Thank you for tuning in, being a part of chat. Chat is a huge part of this show. We want your interaction, so we love it when you guys can get in there and add to, the conversation. You are a part of this, and that's why we do this show. Ronnie and Sean, thank you guys so much for coming out tonight and hanging in with us. We look
Thank
forward.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Remember, we have time to change. If you feel like you need to change, do it. Don't just talk it, walk the walk. Because in the long run, it's going to get you faster down that river of time. I've said it before. Yeah, there's rocks behind you, and they might have spray paint, but that spray paint's chipping off. It doesn't exist. It doesn't matter anymore. It's what's ahead of you. Stay focused. Get through that water. Get a canoe. Doesn't matter. But keep your journey straight. Don't try to go back to where you came from. And on that, virtue be yours. Thank you so much. You're appreciated.
Do good shit this week.
Oh, do good shit this week. I like that. That's going on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.